Welcome to Beyond the Bubble. I'm Chris H.A. Evans.
And I'm Taylor Moore.
Let's get started with the latest on news from Barry and around the Rome community.
An Alabama man got his money's worth in Rome this week. James Wadkins was the recipient of $75,000 from a winning Jumbo Bucks lottery ticket. Wadkins says he plans to put the money towards his son's college education. For the full story, visit www.romenewstribune.com.
Rome was invaded by a herd of nerds this past week. The city of Rome hosted a series of events involving technology and technological breakthroughs. Barry College's own Zane Cochran was featured at the event, as well as the college's 3D printer. Viking Fusion reporter Michael Shaw has more information.
On September 16th, Rome kicked off Geek Week, a celebration of technology and innovation.
It's all to support the Chamber of Commerce initiative of technology and entrepreneurship in our area.
The week began with a showcase of Zane Cochran's Square, an interactive device sponsored by Sevian Design that allows users to engage in motion sensing technology.
I wanted to have something that was really colorful, that would interact with people as they are walking down on Broad Street. And so this idea of having an 8x8 grid of panels that would light up kind of just struck me one day as something that might be an interesting idea to pursue.
And that was just a great example of a local business doing something technology oriented that nobody's ever done before.
2 days later, Geek Week visited Barron Stadium in the form of an egg drop contest. Contestants had to devise a way to keep an egg from breaking when dropped from the top of the stands.
We had students from several of the area schools, middle schools came, a whole class practically of one school came, and we had just people from all over.
Geek Week started as a tradition within Floyd Medical Center, but it has grown to include local students and participants of all ages.
It's all evolved to be fun and celebrate geekiness.
Ms. Lovell said that she's hoping for Geek Week to develop even further in the coming years. With Viking Fusion News, I'm Michael Shaw.
Thanks, Michael. The Passion Tour is coming to the Forum Civic Center in Rome this fall. The Christian Worship Conference is designed especially for college students and has attracted millions of 18 to 25-year-olds since its inception in 1995. For ticket information and more on the Passion Conference, see www.268generation.com.
Nationally, the deadline for mandating a government shutdown is fast approaching. The shutdown would stall federal agencies' operations unless absolutely necessary. Security experts fear that a lengthy shutdown will make the U.S. more vulnerable. The last shutdown occurred in the mid-90s and negatively affected the country's economy. Fusion reporter Bradley Tilka has more on the story.
The fiscal year of the U.S. government ends on September 30th. Due to conflict within Congress, a government shutdown may be approaching. Doctors Eric Sands and John Hickman, associate professors at Barry, give us a breakdown of what this could mean for the United States.
Normally this is a fairly unexceptional process other than the usual bickering and pork barreling and all that kind of stuff about whose programs are getting funded, whose aren't, those sorts of things. But in situations like this, where the stakes are really high, it can be a very powerful tool that parties and certainly the branches of government can use as a way of trying to exert pressure on each other.
If Congress does not come to a resolution before September 30th, a government shutdown would take place to ease the burden of national debt until further notice. Dr. John Hickman describes the impact of America's debt ceiling.
We've been doing this for a very long time now. So the debt is actually quite large. Other countries have somewhat larger debt to total GDP ratios, but ours is, in terms of just total size, is quite large, right? So we have to worry about that. And we have, at times, congressional resistance to raising the debt limit.
Should a government shutdown take effect, specific sectors of the federal government will be closed. While this is a hit for all Americans, some may feel its effects undeniably. Others may not notice it at all.
What they deem essential or critical government services are not cut. It can be a nuisance, it can be a real inconvenience, but I hate to say it, but in a very large sense, at any given hour, most citizens probably wouldn't even notice that there's been a shutdown.
Should this political crisis over spending, the debt limit, and so on, become more acute, it's important that not everyone, the people kind of not see it as more than it is. Should try to see it in perspective.
For Viking Fusion News, I'm Bradley Tilka.
Thanks, Brad. As rescue workers continue to search for survivors in Westgate Mall in Nairobi, Kenya, many questions are still unanswered. The attackers who are responsible for the deaths of more than 50 people are said to be members of a multinational terrorist group called Al-Shabaab. 5 of the attackers were taken out, while 11 potential terrorists are being held. Be sure to read the full story at www.cnn.com. That's all we have for you tonight on Beyond the Bubble. For more information and top stories on what's going on around Barrie and the Rome community, be sure to keep it right here on Viking Fusion. I'm Taylor Moore.
And I'm Chris H.A. Evans. See you next time on Beyond the Bubble.